Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. Welcome to the soul of Sunday. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is a historic faith with a progressive theology. We affirm the worth and dignity of every being and that we are all deeply connected. We are bound to one another not by creed, but by covenant, and we are called to answer the call of love with open minds, open hearts, and open hands. Whoever you are, those of all nations, all creeds, all colors, all kinds of love, you are welcome here.
Good morning, I'm John O'Connor, today's worship coordinator. As always, it's good to be together while apart. Please join me in welcoming our musicians and thanking our tech team for making this service possible this morning. And today, a special welcome to our very own Ali Jablonski, who is our speaker. Ali is the Director of Spiritual Care at Tufts Medical Center and is a chaplain on their adult intensive care units. Ali is in preliminary fellowship in our denomination and cannot wait to get ordained when we can safely gather together again. Ali loves learning about how many forms the divine takes and is grateful to continue to break open the hospital's understanding of spiritual care. For those of you who are new to Arlington Street Church, a very special welcome to this beloved spiritual community. We'd love to stay in touch with you. Please take a moment now to fill out a connection card. The link is in the chat. If you haven't already downloaded today's order of service, it's available in the chat and on the homepage at ascboston.org. All the hymn lyrics are included in the order of service and will be posted in the chat so that we can sing together. As we continue our greetings, let's all say hello in the chat and engage that Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another heart to heart.
Good morning. Please join me in hymn number 15, The Lone Wild Bird.
It is now time for our treasured ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. These candles were submitted on our website by the Friday evening deadline. If you didn't submit your candle and have a joy or sorrow you wish to share this morning, please wait until the third candle is lit, the silent candle, and then type your joy or sorrow into the chat. In addition to sharing our sorrows and joys this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious this beloved community is. We need one another. Despite having to be apart, may we stay very close. And now, in the spirit of invocation, let's join in singing Sanctuary. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Some of us come today with heavy hearts. We open our hearts to you.
A candle of sorrow from the Arlington Street Church community. The CDC has issued new guidance on mask wearing, citing the cluster of 856 cases in Provincetown over the last several weeks. The vast majority of cases were individuals that were fully vaccinated, leading the CDC to conclude it is likely that fully vaccinated individuals can spread the highly contagious Delta variant to others. Mask up, folks. Our final candle of concern is also from the Arlington Street Church community. The federal moratorium on evictions ended Saturday at midnight, putting an estimated 3.6 million Americans at risk of eviction in the next 2 months.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Some of us come today in joy. We share your joy.
We have one candle of joy this morning from Don Richter. The people of Massachusetts now have a very rare opportunity to nudge their state legislators to get rid of the only white supremacy state flag left in the U.S. It will not change without massive public support.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a
the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts, we light a silent candle to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of this sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, for our country, and for the world. Amen.
Please join me in saying our affirmation and covenant. It's printed in the order of service and in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another.
El amor es el espíritu de nuestra congregación y el servicio es nuestro regalo. Esto es a lo que nos comprometemos, convivir en paz, hablar nuestras verdades con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Good morning, everybody. Please join me in singing hymn 123. The music is by Melchior Vulpius and the words by Alicia S. Carpenter. This is We Celebrate the Web of Life.
Rescue and Jessica, A Life-Changing Friendship by Jessica Kinski and Patrick Downs. Illustrated by Scott Magoon. On a special farm in the countryside, a pup named Rescue was in training. He was learning to help people who could not see, but he was worried. His trainer had just said, "You aren't meant to be a seeing-eye dog." That was hard for Rescue to hear. Helping people who couldn't see was the family's business. "The service dog team is better for you," his trainer said. Service dogs work beside their partners instead of in front of them. Will I be a good service dog? Rescue wondered. What will my new partner be like? Will she like me? Rescue didn't want to let anyone down. In a hospital in the city, a girl named Jessica was worried. Both of her legs were badly hurt. Everyone hoped her right leg would heal, but the doctors had to remove part of her left leg so she could be healthy again. "You're an amputee now, Jessica," the doctor explained. "You will have to wear a prosthetic leg or use a wheelchair for the rest of your life." That was hard to hear. Jessica had only ever walked on her own 2 legs. "How will I do things on my own?" Jessica wondered. "When will I be able to walk again? What will my life be like?" Her whole family was worried about her, and she didn't want to let anyone down. Back in the country, Rescue was learning how to be a service dog. When he wore his blue cape, that meant he was in training. He had to stay by his partner's side. He fetched all kinds of things. He even learned how to open doors. "Rescue, you're a natural," said his trainer. At the hospital, Jessica was learning new ways to do things that used to come easily. She used a wheelchair to get around. She practiced getting out of bed differently. She put on a prosthetic leg so she could stand. She was learning how to walk again, even though her right leg was still hurt. "Jessica, you are becoming strong," said the doctors. Rescue was proud of all he had accomplished, but he still worried. He was named in honor of a brave firefighter. He had big shoes to fill. Rescue wanted to help people, just like his namesake. Jessica knew she had made a lot of progress, but she was frustrated and sad about the things she still couldn't do. She wondered if she would ever be happy again. She felt like the changes were too big, too much. One day, a visitor came to see Jessica, and she brought her service dog, Kirahi. Jessica saw how a smart dog like Kirahi could help her. That very day, she started filling out the application to ask for a dog of her own. After a while, Jessica got some very exciting news. Rescue got exciting news too. He also got a new red cape. Finally, the big day arrived. "It's nice to meet you, Rescue," said Jessica. "She looks so nice and so pretty," Rescue thought. Rescue stood up very tall. He hoped she didn't notice his legs were trembling, but his wagging tail gave him away. Jessica smiled a big smile and laughed a big laugh for the first time in a long time. Jessica and Rescue stayed in the country for a few weeks, and Rescue showed her all of the things he could do. "You're amazing," Jessica told Rescue. "You think I'm amazing," Rescue thought. "I think you're amazing." Back in the city, Rescue and Jessica got used to working together. Rescue brought her the things she needed. He opened things that were hard for her to reach. Rescue barked if Jessica needed something. If she tripped, he would hold steady so she could get back up. Rescue and Jessica were always together, but when she didn't need his help, Rescue really liked to sleep. Jessica knew that even though Rescue was special, he was a regular dog too. She made sure that Rescue had playtime every day. But Jessica still wasn't completely healthy. One day, her doctor told her that her right leg would have to be removed too. She would need to wear 2 prosthetic legs. This didn't get any easier for Jessica to hear. The night after the doctor removed her right leg, Rescue knew just what to do to help Jessica, all on his own. Rescue and Jessica had to start all over again. Slowly but surely, they learned how to do all the things they needed to do, together. They did chores together, played together, and snuggled together. For the first time in a long time, Jessica felt happy, and that made Rescue happy too. "You changed my life, Rescue," she said. "I couldn't have done this without you." "I'm so proud of us," he thought. "You rescued me, Rescue," said Jessica. But the truth was, they had rescued each other.
During World War II, London experienced repeated bomb raids known as the Blitz. January 12, 1945 brought yet another, leaving buildings destroyed and many lost. Irma was the service dog for the civil defences of London, and on this day, she used her ability to determine whether a victim was dead or alive to help save time and lives. With Irma's help, 191 people were rescued from the rubble. On September 11th, guide dogs Salty and Roselle remained by the side of their blind owners and guided them down 70 floors and through debris to safety. They then assisted other people caught in the attack and led them to safety. In 2012, toddler Alita met the newest member of their family, Mr. Gibbs. Alita was born with a rare condition that makes it difficult to breathe, and most of the time, she needs to be connected to oxygen. Her family wanted her to have the freedom to play and be with peers, and thanks to Mr. Gibbs, she is able to do that. Mr. Gibbs stays by her side, toting her oxygen tanks. He follows her as she runs with her friends and even goes down playground slides with her. In 2015, Antonio was riding in the back of his parents' SUV as they traveled to a family dinner when a man fired bullets into their car and hit Antonio in the head. He was 12 years old. After the shooting, Antonio went through 5 brain surgeries and endured migraines, balance issues, and seizures. Antonio was paired with service dog Alice. Alice has alerted him to every oncoming seizure he has had since getting her. Alice also assists with his balance and accompanies him wherever he goes. Because of Alice, Antonio is able to do the daily tasks that would otherwise be impossible, and he's giving Antonio a new chance at a new normal life. Irma, Salty, Roselle, Mr. Gibbs, and Alice join a big crowd of incredible service dogs. Currently, there are about 200,000 registered service dogs working in the United States. Service dogs help with many different physical or mental impairments that limit major life activity. Service dogs serve many different needs. Guide dogs act as the eyes for a person who is blind and can lead them around. Hearing dogs alert people with deafness to important sounds. Mobility dogs can pull people in wheelchairs, assist people who struggle with balance, or help those using walking devices. Medical alert dogs can sense some medical issues and alert their humans it's time to medicate or can go for help when a medical event occurs. These dogs have accomplished quite the feat. 50 to 70% of canine candidates for service dog positions fail somewhere in their training. They continue to be incredible dogs, but are not able to become service dogs. It takes a minimum of 18 months of training for these pups to become service dogs, and it costs about $20,000 to $30,000 to train a service dog. Humans waiting for a service dog usually wait about 3 years to be matched. Some dogs have been frontline workers during the pandemic. A photograph of Dr. Susan Ryan being comforted by Labrador Retriever Win went viral. I slid down along the hospital wall and Win just laid there with me, Dr. Ryan said. We find such comfort in getting to pet her. It grounds us and reminds us that we are still connected. Therapy dogs, unlike service dogs, were not allowed in most hospitals during the pandemic. So many therapy dogs went virtual. Bailey, the therapy hound, worked with hospital staff to do virtual visits to the families of nurses and doctors, trying to provide comfort to families under great distress, worrying about their loved ones. Bailey makes me feel happy, the 7-year-old daughter of a hospital doctor. I work as a hospital chaplain, and one of the best parts of my job is being one of 4 handlers for Bob, our hospital service dog in residence. Bob is a service dog trained not to serve an individual, but trained to serve a hospital community. Like many of us, Bob works Monday through Friday. He is trained to comfort and support patients, families, and staff. Bob belongs to our children's hospital, but we are very lucky that our pediatric staff and leadership share him with the adults. Bob comforts those in distress and assists staff in teaching children about different medical procedures and devices. Bob works alongside chaplains, physical therapists, occupational therapists, child life specialists, and music therapists to support individual patient needs and to deepen their care. Bob is by far a celebrity at work and everyone's favorite coworker. It takes about 20 minutes to travel anywhere because everyone wants to meet and visit with Bob. Bob now has toys and treat jars on just about every hospital unit, and he has over 3,000 followers on Instagram. Handling Bob has been an incredible education. This has been a painful 2 years for so many reasons, and there's been a lot of talking. Opinions and lectures and arguing seem to erupt again and again. In this time of hearing so much from one another, I thought I would share with you the silent, powerful lessons I've learned from Bob. Lesson 1, give grace. Love and care do not need to be earned. When I speak of grace, I am speaking of unmerited love and mercy. Giving unmerited love makes sense for us when, as Unitarian Universalists, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity in all people as one of our guiding principles. I've known Mary Oliver to be called a Unitarian Universalist saint and have heard her poem Wild Geese shared so many times in our services. There's a reason it is so popular and so relevant. It is so wise. Oliver tells us, you do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. Bob does not need you to be good. Bob does not need you to repent. Bob does not need you to earn his love in any way. He doesn't even need you to give him a treat. It does not matter to Bob what brought you into the hospital. It does not matter to Bob what you do for work or how well you get along with your colleagues. All that matters to Bob is that you're here and you want to see him. There's a common saying attributed to Ian McLaren many of us have heard. Be kind. Everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. I think most of us try very hard to remember this. I often believe that Bob knows this. How easy is it to give grace? How often do you receive grace? How often do you witness grace? And how might grace affect the world for you and for those around you? Lesson 2, trust your instincts. In my handler training, I learned different commands and guides for working with Bob. And then I learned that if Bob is acting unusual or is very insistent, the best thing to do is to listen to him and to follow his lead. One day we had a very full schedule and were off to visit a patient who was waiting for us. We jogged down the hallway to a unit that Bob knows well. As we passed the waiting room almost at the unit, Bob froze and would not move. Not with gentle pleading and not for a treat. I sighed, and as I was trying to figure it out, I heard a soft cry coming from the waiting room. I went in and saw a woman hugging her daughter, who looked to be about 12 and was crying. I took half a step towards them, and Bob immediately went to them. I'll call this pair Daisy and Michelle. As Daisy and her mom petted Bob, they told me how Daisy's dad was in the ICU and not doing well. They were waiting to see him and were scared of what they would see. Bob did not leave their side until they were being led onto the unit. Bob checked on Michelle and Daisy the next 2 days until Daisy's dad, Danny, died. After Danny's death, Daisy asked if Bob could come with her to say goodbye to her dad. By this point, Daisy and Bob were good friends, and Daisy trusted Bob in the sea of adults and machines. Bob helped Daisy through these unbearable days. Had Bob not stopped and refused to move, we might not have met them. How do you relate to your instinct? Do you feel it? And do you trust it? Has your instinct supported you? Has it protected you? How might your instinct guide you? Lesson 3. You don't need words to express love. When we think of dogs speaking, we think of the barks that we can't translate into English. As part of Bob's training, when Bob has his vest on, he has been trained not to bark. In English or canine, Bob does not speak. And yet, Bob is able to leave patients, family members, and staff feeling loved with no words. So often, those who feel this love most deeply are those who do not feel love easily. A young patient died after a week of fighting an illness. The patient's mom wailed, then screamed, then leapt onto the floor, where she continued to scream in anguish. Concerned and compassionate staff tried to comfort this mom that I'll call Anya, but she only screamed louder. Anya had met Bob when her son was first admitted. As Anya lay screaming, Bob came up to her, then laid beside her, resting his head near hers. Bob was unflinching as she screamed and cried. Bob showed Anya his love by being beside her in the pain and in the discomfort. No words were needed. How have words taught you love? How have words kept you from love? What actions would help you express the love you feel? And how could you show love without speaking? Our final lesson from Bob, lesson 4, take breaks. Hospitals are not a place where it is encouraged or easy to take breaks. But no matter how high the demand is for Bob, Bob needs to take breaks. Bob takes many breaks throughout the day. He rests on his pillow or in his doghouse. He goes to the local park or runs around on the playroom deck. Bob lays on the cool floor or snuggles with his plushies. We are required to make sure that Bob takes breaks because we know that Bob cannot do his important work of giving grace, trusting his instinct, and giving love without taking many breaks. How often do you take breaks? How do the people around you feel about taking breaks? How do you feel about taking breaks? And what would a break look like for you? You deserve meaningful breaks, and many of them. May you give yourself permission to take them, and may you make it safe for others to take them as well. When we gather again in person, I wish I could bring Bob with me to each service to give you a chance to rest in Bob's care and to learn Bob's lessons from him. But I hope that you've been able to at least rest in what Bob teaches. May you give grace and receive grace. May you trust your instincts, and may your instincts bear fruit. May you show love and be shown love. And may you take many, many breaks. Amen.
Hey everyone. This song was just too perfect not to share with you, with our topic being dogs and animals. This is My Dog and Me by John Hyatt.
Trail of a backbone rig. How many times can one dog be? She lifts me high as an eagle when I'm on the skids, but you gotta come home eventually. Buddy, I would go that extra mile for an extra bark and an extra smile, 'cause I never felt so free. It was just my dog and me. She shoots me that look like she'd lay down her life. No doubt she would in a minute, man. She'd face the bullet or she'd face the knife, just to keep me from the frying pan. Now she runs up ahead to chase some deer, comes back to tell me that the coast is clear. And it's a different world I see when it's just my dog and me. There's a rabbit on the run, man and beast and sky and sun. Who's talking to the birds in the trees? Why, it's just my dog and me. From the crack of dawn to the break of the day, nice and easy up the devil's back. She wouldn't have it any other way. About to carry us down that one last ride till we're safe at home by the fireside, dreaming those dreams for it was just my dog and me.
Friends, our generosity continues to astound everyone. Throughout the pandemic, we have continued to pay our staff and maintain our building. Arlington Street is entirely self-sustaining. Please take a moment now to join me in giving to our beloved spiritual community by filling out our virtual collection plate. You can text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 617-300-0509. You can scan the QR code in the order of service. You may visit our homepage at ascboston.org and click on the yellow Donate Now button, or you can even write a check and send it to Arlington Street Church. Thank you for your generosity. After you have made your gift to sustain our beloved community, please continue to share in the chat what inspires you during these challenging times.
Hello, I'm Patrick Cooleybeck. Last spring, 13 Arlington Street Church congregants participated in Beloved Conversations, an anti-racism learning curriculum offered by Meadville Lombard Theological School, a UU seminary in Chicago, Illinois. Early registration for the upcoming fall session closes on August 14th, and we'd like to get as many interested people signed up before the early bird discount ends in mid-August. Beloved Conversations is appropriate for people with all levels of experience in anti-racism work and has something to offer to everyone. Many of us who took part in the spring session will be sharing our experiences with the curriculum during a special Zoom session after the service next Sunday, August the 8th at 12:30 p.m. The link to the Zoom session, as well as additional contact information, will be provided in next week's order of service and on our homepage at ascboston.org. We'd love to see you next Sunday. And now, back to John O'Connor for the rest of the parish highlights.
Thank you, Patrick. Friends, this week, as always, there's a lot going on in the Zoom room. There are gatherings for loving kindness, meditation, poetry, a tea party with our ministers, yoga, writing, and more. Please visit ascboston.org for information on everything that's going on. To attend any of these offerings, you don't have to be a member. You don't have to turn on your video. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. And best of all, it's free. Again, please visit ascboston.org for information on everything going on. All are always welcome. Before I turn it over to our musicians for the closing hymn, thank you, all of you who attended and worked in today's service, and for everyone who made it possible. Remember, we are all in this together.
Hello, friends. For our closing hymn, we'll be singing one of my favorites. It's a beautiful folky melody by Caroline McDade. This is hymn 1068. Please join me in singing Rising Green.
My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. Their sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul, like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars, where the stars, where the stars forever have lain. My hands hold the weavings of time without end. My sight as deep as the sea. Beating my heart sounds the measures of old, that of love's eternity. That of love, that of love, that of love's eternity. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on a far distant land. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and my love blows over the land. And my love, and my love, and my love blows over the land.
Before our benediction, I invite you to reach out your hands and touch the sides of your square. Touch hands with the people to your left and to your right, and send out love to the person on either side of you and to the person on either side of them. Send out love into this beloved spiritual community and feel it coming back to you. Love is the spirit of this congregation. And now for our benediction, I invite you to put your hands over your heart. Our benediction comes from Mary Oliver's poem, The Sweetness of Dogs. What do you say, Percy? I am thinking of sitting out on the sand to watch the moon rise. It's full tonight. So we go, and the moon rises, so beautiful it makes me shudder, makes me think about time and space, makes me take measure of myself, one iota pondering heaven. Thus we sit, myself thinking how grateful I am for the moon's perfect beauty, and also, oh, how rich it is to love the world. Percy, meanwhile, leans against me and gazes up into my face, as though I were just as wonderful as the perfect moon. Let us keep this faith and carry it on. The service begins where the service ends. Amen.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go.
Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.